All right, YouTube. We have some guidance here from the EEOC. We have some answers to questions you may or may not have had about the treatment of COVID and the long term effects of COVID as a disability, which, as you know, is something that I've been preaching about 18 months now, 2 years. I don't really know anymore. Um, I mean, does time still matter? I don't know. I don't know if it does. But but the ADA still matters. Your health still matters. Your work still matters. It's how you and I survive. It's how we buy food and shelter. So let's talk about that. On December 14th, the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, explained that someone who has or who had COVID can be viewed as someone with an actual disability, quotes theirs, not mine, or someone having a record of having a disability. Okay. Clearly, that language will be meaningful later in the article. Each case is going to have to be assessed separately. Interesting, as not all COVID-19 diagnoses will meet the ADA's definition of disability. Oh, wow. Okay. So we're just going to have a case-by-case determination of what is and is not a disability. So I guess they'll be working up a test in the case law over time. That's going to be messy. That's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of litigation. And that's bad. It's bad for employers. It's bad for employees. You know what it's great for? It's great for me. Yeah. I'm not thrilled about that though. I don't need any extra litigation. We're pretty busy as it is. But well, listen. If the government was clear, nobody would need me, right? If the government did its job. Would we need attorneys? Probably not. Probably not. Okay, so let's dig into this. A person with COVID-19 has an actual disability, quotes theirs, if the effects from the virus or its symptoms present a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities. Well, that is incredibly broad. I mean, the symptoms from COVID are almost infinite. So I guess this test makes sure that you're just not a person with a non-symptomatic case of COVID, which I guess there are many people who have no symptoms at all. So fair enough. Okay, so if you're not symptomatic, you have COVID, but you're not disabled. Perhaps that's not a disability. Although I would argue that if you have COVID, there's no question that their test, which is substantially limits one or more major life activity, will be impacted because if you have COVID, you can give people COVID. Therefore, one of the symptoms is being able to infect others with COVID, and so you can't go places unless you want to murder people, or potentially murder people. Either way, however you want to say it. So it's not a very good test. Did they read this before they put it up? I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it. So they give an example. A person diagnosed with COVID-19 who experiences ongoing yet intermittent headaches, dizziness, and difficulty remembering or concentrating is considered substantially limited in neurological and brain function, and therefore regarded as someone with an actual disability. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty clear cut, but I mean, we've already hit in 30 seconds on some questions here. Now, this is going to be an individualized assessment. They're not going to allow anything categorically. What does that mean? Well, they give us an example. A person infected with the virus who is either asymptomatic or presents mild symptoms that resolve within a matter of weeks with no other consequences will not be regarded as a person with an actual disability under the ADA's definition. Okay. I mean, I guess they're saying that my theory that you can't leave your home if you have COVID-19 means you're disabled because it limits a major life activity like leaving your home, leaving quarantine, right? I guess they're saying they're not buying into that. I don't know how much sense that makes, but well, okay. Seems like they're saying they thought of it, and no. We'll see. Now, an individual who has since recovered from COVID 19, but while diagnosed with COVID 19 met the ADA's definition of a person with an actual disability, may be considered someone with a record of disability. And what they're doing there is people who have had a disability but don't currently have a disability can still have some protections in place. Okay, so now all the general things that would be in place if you have a disability are going to be in place here. If you're subjected to an adverse workplace action because you actually have COVID, or the employer mistakenly believes you have COVID, or well, this is interesting. Okay, so depending on the facts, a person may be regarded as this is even weirder. Depending on the facts, a person may be regarded as, quotes theirs, a bit bizarre, an individual with a disability if the person is subjected to an adverse action because the person either actually has COVID-19 or the employer mistakenly believes the person has COVID-19, unless the actual or believed diagnosis is objectively both transitory, lasting or expected to last 6 months, and minor. Okay. They give an example. An employee is fired for displaying symptoms of COVID-19, which, although minor, lasted or expected to last more than 6 months, may be considered by the EEOC as someone regarded as an individual with a disability. Oh, interesting. So if you have very low-key COVID symptoms, but your COVID lasts for 6 months, they're giving you protections. So the way they phrase that, or at least the way JD Super phrased that, which I suspect means it's the actual phrasing from the EEOC, because JD Super is quite good, is bizarre. But I like the idea that we're protecting people who have long-haul COVID, even if they have minor symptoms. That's nice. I like that. Oh, okay. A medical condition, either caused or worsened by COVID-19, may be a disability under the ADA. Okay. Not terribly useful guidance. We already knew that. Now, they're also going to roll out some defenses on an employment action taken by an employer where the employer thinks there's real or potential, or they believe there's COVID diagnosis in play. This is strange. Okay, so for example, even if an employee is terminated from employment because of their COVID-19 related impairment, the individual will still need to establish, so the employee will still need to establish that they are qualified for the job held or desired. Well, they were hired for the job and were not fired for the job, but for their COVID diagnosis. Why would they have to go ahead and prove that they were qualified for the job? The employer already decided they were qualified for the job by hiring them and keeping them in that role. I don't really understand that. This is a very... I understand they're trying to clarify things here, but this is horrific. Like, I don't really understand where they're going with a lot of this. And of course, employers, the EEOC does make it clear that the employers can require people to not come into the office if they have COVID-19. That is because they pose a direct threat of course, giving other people COVID-19, which I certainly agree with. All right, that was a stumbling and bumbling read through of the EEOC guidance. And I think that was 25% my own failure to understand some of this going on, and 75% perhaps the EEOC's lack of understanding of what it's writing. Uh, but like and subscribe for more quality content just like this. And that'll help me to help more people just like you. Comment down below. I do track the comments. Maybe you've read into this and you have more thoughts. I would like to discuss this further. Some of these situations here, I think could be fun thought experiments. And this is going to be a rapidly developing area of litigation that I would benefit from discussing with many people. So please comment below. Let's talk about it.